Megyn Kelly.
And I'm Bill Hemmer. Good morning. Celebrations across the board for Democrats. Republicans, meanwhile, reflecting and planning for the future
Yeah,
today.
the GOP already looking at what went wrong, both in the race for the White House and in the battle for Congress. Live look there on Capitol Hill. Who will be the new face now of the Republican Party? And what is the strategy for getting back into the majority? Beginning the quest for answers this morning, Congressman McCotter of Michigan, chairman of the Republican House Policy Committee, joins us by phone. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Megan. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So obviously it was not a good night for folks on your side of the aisle. What is the strategy? I know meetings are beginning as early as today to look forward to 2010 to figure out how you guys can get back into the majority or at least improve your numbers. What are your feelings on it? Where do you stand on it?
Well, my thoughts are that we've hit rock bottom, which in many ways means that there's a temptation to look backwards and to look for new faces. I think what we really have to do is look forward and use our minds. God created us as sentient beings. The Republican Party is now free, as Lincoln once said, in another time of national crisis, to think anew and act anew, and we should seize this moment. The election is over. We look forward to working with the incoming Democrats where we can, but we have to reaffirm our enduring principles and our concept that America, even in the age of globalization, is and can and should remain the greatest nation on earth, and take it from there.
You know, one of the biggest problems that people have with Congress, and you look at, as I don't have to tell you, incredibly low approval ratings, I mean, getting down to the single digits almost, is the spending, the out-of-control spending that we have seen from lawmakers on Capitol Hill. You know, traditionally, that's been a Democratic problem. The Democrats were known as spenders, the Republican not so much. And as John McCain said many times in this election, he said, we came to Washington to change it, and it changed us. Do the Republicans go back to that now? Do they go back to a Reagan-esque, curtailment of spending?
Well, I think we have to go back to our enduring principles. And one of the things that happened in the transformational time of globalization is the Republican Party failed to channel constructive change across the board, not merely in terms of materialist terms, but in terms of traditionalism, preserving tradition, advancing liberty. And so when you look at spending, spending was a symptom of the deeper dysfunction that we had lost the ability to discern the times in which we live, communicate a vision to the American people, and we thought that spending was simply going to be able to continue a Republican majority that had lost its purpose, and the American people fundamentally disagreed with that.
All right, but let me press you on this, Congressman, because it sounds nice, you're very eloquent, but it sounds like just talking points. I mean, as a practical matter, you want the message today, the message going forward is going to be resume our message of liberty. I mean, we've kind of had that.
Megan, you have four fundamental transformational challenges. One of them is globalization itself. People feel chaos. When Senator Obama talked about deregulation, which I disagreed with, he talked about the fact that chaos was being created because the Republican Party was not helping to channel that into empowering people, and that's one of them. You have the second one, where we have a war against an evil enemy. We have the problem with the rise of communist China. We have the problem of moral relativism, which is an attack on traditional truths of the country. These are four paradigms in which we go. So not talking points, but if you want to talk about reducing spending, that is a talking point. If you want to talk about the larger issues that are affecting people, when you look at focus groups, when you talk to people, they know something big is going on. The Republican Party, when you talk about the problem with earmarks or spending, did not address the larger problems occurring in people's lives, did not empower them to deal with them themselves, and they turned to the party of government.
Yeah, and this is how we see it happen in this country, where you see the one party getting full power, and then people get upset and they want divided government, and then it gets split up again. That's what we saw happen to you guys, the Republicans. So I guess we'll watch to see what you guys come up with, and we'll be here to cover it. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Megan.
All right, in the